In this video, I want to talk about the 10 reasons that I think that you should read a Kindle or other e-reader. So this is my pitch for reading a book electronically through Amazon or some other reseller. And I know that a lot of people don't like to contemplate reading with ebooks. It's a tough sell for a lot of people. On the other hand, millions are already doing this and doing it quite happily. So here are my reasons, and I'll try to also people give for not reading e-readers and ebooks. Now, one of the most common complaints about ebooks is that they're not real books. This is the most hilarious complaint of them all, in my view, because a book is the writing that is contained within it. And of course, that writing is the same in an ebook or a paper book, as I call it, a physical book. And there's no difference. I can't believe that people would buy a book for the cover. You're not supposed to judge a book by the cover anyway, as we all know. And I don't think many people do treasure the cover. They might appreciate the cover, but of course you can see the cover on an ebook as well. But that's not why they buy the book. They buy the book because of the content. And the content is exactly the same in an ebook and a book in print. Now some people say, well, I like to hold a book in my hands. I like to leaf through the pages. Well, that's just a habit. And of course we can always change our habits with another mode of reading. That wouldn't be a hard thing to do. There is a trade-off, after all, because ebooks tend to be a lot less expensive. When you think about it, that what you're actually wanting to get from a book, the words and what they mean on the page, are exactly as accessible on an ebook as on a paper book. Now, another thing that people will say is that they'll say, well, it's easier for me to look back at a particular part of the book because I have an intuitive feel for where that passage was. And I get that, because a lot of times when I used to read paper books, I did have a kind of intuitive awareness of where I had to go, but it would still take a few seconds, if not minutes, to find the place I was looking for. And you can do that with an ebook too. Every ebook has a feature where you can flip back many, many pages. You can go to a chapter you recall and then speedily get to the passage you're looking for. It's really not that hard. And you can also bookmark passages that you're interested in, and you can get there in a flash much faster than in a paper book. So a lot of times people will say, well, I can't get immersed in an ebook. The electronics bother me. It's like looking at a book on a computer. Well, it really is not, because an ebook it's not the same as a computer screen where the light comes out of the back of the screen and showers you with light. Instead, with an ebook, you see the type the way you would see the type on a printed book. That is, the sun shining down on the page. That's how the light shines down on an ebook page as well. So it's not like it's radiating at you from the screen. So it's very pleasurable to, for example, if you read in bed, to turn off the light, because you already have a light shining down on the book in an ebook. So that's really a false complaint in my view. In terms of access, ebooks have it all over paper books. If you want a paper book, yes, you can buy it from an online reseller, and it'll take a couple of days to arrive. No big deal. But it is kind of a big deal if you really want to dive into the book right away. You can get an ebook instantly. Again, it's almost always less expensive than the paper book. You don't have to find room to shelve your books if you read ebooks. It's all in the cloud. So you don't have to worry about space concerns. And a lot of people have real concerns with space. They don't live in huge houses or mansions. and frequently they have to get rid of their books. You never have to do that with an ebook. It will always remain in the cloud. Now, some people will also say, you know, you don't really own the book with an ebook. And that's technically true. You are essentially licensing the book for your entire life. In theory, Amazon could make it disappear from your catalog. I think they once did that in the case of a controversial book, and they got into a lot of trouble for that. But that has not happened since, and I don't know what the difference is. There's only one difference that I can see that makes this an issue, and that is that you really can't give the book away if it's an ebook. You know, it's in your library. Sometimes you can loan it to another person, but if it's a really popular book, you can't even do that. So yes, it's kind of a drag not to be able to give your book to someone else. But if the book is only costing a couple of dollars, you can still recommend it to somebody, and they should be able to handle a couple of dollars, it seems to me. So that doesn't seem to be a major problem. Another reason people don't like ebooks is because they don't want to feed the Amazon monster. In other words, this is a kind of political argument that Amazon is too gigantic and it's crowding out all other businesses. That's a legitimate reason not to buy ebooks. And I would respect those people highly if they also don't buy anything else from Amazon. However, if they are selective in their boycott, I don't see how that's going to hurt Amazon. And as for me, I spent many, many years living in a backwater place in the United States. And there was no bookstore in the town in which I lived. And so when Amazon came along, it was a godsend. It wasn't just that I could get a book instantly, but that I could get virtually any book. And at that time, you did still have to wait a couple of days to get it in the mail, but it was a lifesaver. Let me put it this way. I'm in my 60s, and I don't know how many years left I have on this planet, but I do know one thing. When I'm gone, I will never, ever again buy a product from Amazon.com. And so my boycott will last a long, long time thereafter. And so for the 30 years that most of you have after I'm gone, you may or may not boycott Amazon, but I'll be boycotting it too. And it's hard for me to see how the monster can get much of a meal from me with the time I have left. I'm certainly going to prioritize my ability to get to books. And if that sounds like a compromise, well, you know what? That's what politics are all about, the art of compromise. So there are other things I could say about ebook. I may make a second video if I can think of other reasons. They're waterproof now, so if you take an ebook reader like this to the beach, you could take the cover off, but the cover is not very expensive. So you could just take it to the beach, and if it rains, so what? It's not going to hurt the ebook. But if you have a printed book, it could make it very soggy and very unappetizing to read sometime later. But finally, let's get rid of this notion that ebooks are not real books. I mean, I've heard academics say that. It's not a real book. Think about it this way. If ebooks had come along at the time of Gutenberg, and paper books were only just now coming out, people would say of paper books, oh, it's not a real book. You know, it can get rained on and ruined. And they're more expensive, so a lot of people won't be able to afford it. And they're ephemeral. If something happens to it, it's gone. You'll have to buy another one. It won't be in the cloud anymore. And I really believe that is what the dynamic is in this debate between paper books and ebooks that live in the cloud. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you did enjoy this video, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. There's a little icon in the lower right that allows you to do that if you click on it. So thanks for joining me, and let me know if you want more videos like this by commenting on this video. Bye-bye.